Are you listening? Damn.
Welcome to the AFC North Talk, presented by True Classic. True Classic, upgrade your shirt game with True Classic. Ace, are you there, brother?
But we've got Minka.
Uh-oh, froze?
No, you there.
No.
I think you're trying to play something.
We've got Minka. We've got TJ Watt. We've got them all. Oh no. Oh no. What happened? What happened in Pittsburgh? The Bengals just took over your trap. The Bengals just took over your trap. The Bengals just took over your trap. Oh man. They said my man Minka Fitzpatrick. He got a little MRI. They went inside of his body. They took his appendix out. You know what they didn't find, though? They didn't find that dog in him. Joe Burrow, no. He got that dog in him. Trey Hendrickson, he got that dog in him. T. Higgins, he got that dog in him. They found out the hard way, baby. But hey, TJ Watt, he did his thing. He did his thing. But you know what? Lyle Collins said, let me introduce you to IHOP. A little pancake for you. Pretty nice, right? A little syrup on that. Yeah. But yeah, I'm your biggest hater. It's me, Stinker Fitzpatrick. Got a little. Oh, what happened to them? They used to be black. They used to be black. That black Air Force energy is gone now, baby. We got a shovel for you too. Oh yeah, season's over.
Yeah, brand new shovel.
We're gonna go ahead and bury the Pittsburgh Steelers because I'm your biggest hater, and I had to check. I had to show up. Just to make sure that they were dead. They did.
I'll tell you what. Losing the Super Bowl sucks. Losing the Super Bowl sucks. That's no way.
You would know about losing the Super Bowl.
It's the third one I watched in my life. It's the third Super Bowl I watched the Steelers lose. A lot of other things can relate. This is probably season 2, but this is personally, this is my favorite.
Tony, is there any way you can get the audio version? Maybe that way we can get some internet back for you.
Oh, okay. That's 1, 2.
Yeah.
It's as good as it's gonna get, I think.
Yeah, you sound about as good as the Steelers' offense in the second half.
Yeah.
But always have the first half. Always have the first half.
Okay, so let's start with so Tony's gonna be here only part-time. I was gonna give credit to Tony. Tony's on a cruise, honeymoon cruise.
No, not honeymoon. Anniversary.
Honeymoon.
Today is actually my anniversary.
Anniversary cruise. And he came here as the anniversary day to eat some crow. And you know what? I'm gonna have to respect that. After watching his Steelers lose, after watching the U.S. tie, because they have no business.
No, that was big tie. That was a good tie. No, that was good. I called it, Sonny. I said tie, win. Yeah, I mean, 5 points gets USA through.
We're not gonna deviate this pod, but this they started hot, right? Not hot, but they started way better than I thought. I don't know about Q&As, and we'll see what they think later, but I thought they started way better. I mean, I was like, damn, this Pittsburgh offense looks good. I'm like, what's the last time? Ace, you're muted, by the way. I was like, it's weird. And then second half came, and they start slowing down a little bit more. I want to hear. Now I can kind of hear you, Ace. So, Tony, what happened?
Yeah. By the way, I'm sad that my video's not working, because, by the way, I want to let everybody know I'm coming to you live from the casino of this boat, which is basically my home base here. So it's too bad that's not working. Yeah, this was a fun game for, like you said, for the first half. So I was dreaming of. I mean, look, I know Ace had a great intro prepared in my head in the first halftime. I also had a great intro prepared. I just want you guys know, like I was prepping it, was ready to go. Look, that sucked. First of all, got to give credit to Joey B. I guess I have to call him now. No more Joey regression memes after that performance. He was good, and by the way, credit to Zach Taylor too. I thought the Steelers giving up 37 points is not a way that I thought the Steelers were going to lose this football game. Or certainly given the way the Steelers offense played, I felt like there's no way the Steelers are going to give up 40, given that they can actually run the ball, they can actually move the ball offensively. But credit to Burrow, credit to Zach Taylor. A couple things about their performance. One, Joe Burrow's ability to kind of stay cool in the pocket, where we saw him in weeks 1 and 2. You know, we talked about like his eyes come down, right, and he gets nervous, and all of a sudden it gets to be like this different Joe Burrow that we hadn't seen before. That was definitely not the case in the first half, or sorry, in this football game. There were a couple times where I thought the Steelers got him a little rattled, but that was, those were few and far between. The Steelers made some plays defensively, but not enough. And credit to Zach Taylor for getting T. Higgins involved early and often. Well, I shouldn't say early because he didn't have his first catch, I think, until the second quarter, but he got him going. My goodness. The Steelers do such a good job of taking number one receivers. And I felt like, one reason why I was so confident on the preview show was because we back and look at Mike Tomlin's numbers.
Okay. No.
What's up?
You sounded robotic for a moment. Keep going now.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, it's ship Wi-Fi. No, I think when you look at the Steelers' ability in the past to take away teams who only have kind of one wide receiver, right? Again, no Jamar Chase in this one meant that it was going to kind of be, hey, they're going to have to get Boyd and really they're going to have to get Higgins going. And I felt like with the way the Steelers roll coverage, that was going to be to their advantage. And credit to Zach Taylor and credit to Joe Burrow because, this was getting T. Higgins going and getting him open and getting him in run after catch situations. This was not T. Higgins having to rely on 50-50 balls, right? I mean, this was when the Bengals were moving the ball, it was surgical. This was not, some sort of variance thing like we saw last year was they were making big plays out of nowhere. This was like, this was more of a surgical approach. I know a lot of Steelers fans are upset about the P. Ryan stuff and the whatever that window tight end who made a bunch of plays in this one. I'm not as upset about that because I felt like, look, if that's how the Bengals are going to beat you because Samaje Perine has a monster game and because some random tight end has a monster game, like, cool. Like, that's how you want the Bengals. You don't want them to win through guys like Boyd and Higgins. But my disappointment comes in the fact that Higgins got going, that it felt like it was so easy, especially when it was money down, right? The Steelers did a good job of getting the Bengals into those third and longs, but then it just felt so easy for Burrow to get the ball to Higgins or to find an open receiver in those spots, and I come away disappointed there. Offensively, obviously, yeah, the second half was atrocious. Those back-to-back drives, there was one where they hit Pickens down the sideline, and then it goes. They immediately, Matt Canada, in all his friggin' genius, decides, we got a lot of momentum here. I think it's time for the flea flicker, boys. I think it's time to call the flea flicker, and that obviously killed the momentum of that drive. You go flea flicker. Break it to running to benefit, lose 2 yards, and then they have to punt. Look, I will say this about the offense. I thought those two sequences were. I thought that play call in particular, it was really dumb. I don't think he called necessarily a horrific game. The offense is still not good, right? Something should be fired. I go to his credit, but the Bengals defense has had the Steelers' number. We've talked about this in the past, right? When you look at how good the Bengals defense has done against the Steelers' offense over the past 2 years, I was kind of shocked at how well this offense, they would move the ball both, not just through the air, but on the ground as well. I mean, Najee got going in the first half of this one. And I mean, again, the Steelers put up, 20 points in the first half. This team was kind of locked at 20 points in a game, period, right? 20 points was like their ceiling in a football game. So to get 20 points in a half, and especially against this Bengals defense that has so owned the Steelers in the last, 4 meetings, if you go back to the Ryan Finley game, which I don't want to talk about, but I guess here we are. I thought this was Kenny's best game. Now, obviously, it was only a half, right? Because it was really his best half. It was the first half, because the second half, he was bad. But, taking it as a whole, I think still it's probably his best game. Still, to like, I don't know, to do half glass there. Like, the offense is moving in the right direction. This is an offense that scored 20 points in half about any Steeler offense going back to last season. But yeah, no, credit to the Bengals in this one. I thought that Zach Taylor, Joe Burrow, that offense outclassed that Steeler defense, which is not, and they did it the easy way, right? They didn't do it the hard way. They didn't do it through, trickery or all this. I mean, they straight up beat that Steeler defense on merit. They said, look, we're going to get T. Higgins the ball. We don't care how you're going to cover him. We're going to get him open, and we're going to find ways to win that way. Even plays the Steelers made the tip interception, TJ's amazing interception, right? Those felt like flukes in an otherwise dominant performance from Joe Burrow. And again, look, I'm all the jokes in the world. Hand up. I don't know that I'm not going to sit here and say I was wrong yet. Okay, long season, but for one game sample size, yeah, I mean, got this one way wrong. Credit to the Bengals, credit to Joe Burrow. They thoroughly outclassed that Steelers team.
Okay, so we got most of that gist over there. I have a couple super chats here. I don't know if you want to stay. Oh, I guess he can't. Shout out to Tony again. He's in his hot and anniversary day, and he's here listening, taking the crew. Okay, we're gonna go to some super chats, and then I'll throw it to you, Ace, and then Q. People really said that Roquan won't help. Oh, there's Tony.
Who said he wouldn't help? That's crazy.
No, that's not crazy.
You're mute, Q.
You're mute. Q.
Can't hear you, Q. I'm pretty sure he was like, man, what?
But nobody said Roquan Smith wouldn't help. It's like, but we about to be beating our chest like, yo, this is why we bring Roquan after you beat Baker Mayfield in the Carolina Panthers, dog. Like, that's not why you got Roquan Smith. We got Roquan Smith in the first round.
Wait.
Shutting down Baker Mayfield is
that's CJ Mosley was doing that.
There's reason you have Roquan and Ace. Most of this panel said that Roquan was like a mid pickup. I mean, you can go back and roll that tape.
We didn't say it was a mid pickup. We said it was a pickup that wasn't going to move the needle.
Me personally, I felt like it didn't make sense because I felt like you guys needed help on offense. I felt like the defense was kind of getting there. I felt like the offense is where you guys kind of needed a jolt. Like Roquan is a great player, right? But he's not.
It doesn't raise the ceiling.
He's not catching passes. I guess what I'm saying. He's
okay,
not.
But the reason you brought Roquan is not because of Baker, right? The reason was that rushing attack has been extremely good in the past, 4 or 5 weeks. They're averaging 140 yards per game, and you hold them by 40. That's Roquan. That is because of our. If you go check our first 5 weeks here, I said our yards per carry. Right, teams are rushing very well.
You did say that. I do remember that.
The Ravens were allowing it wasn't like teams were allowing 150 yards. It was 100. It was like yards per carry was 4.5, 5 yards per carry, and then you bring Roquan to hope to limit that. That's what you brought Roquan to this defense, basically to complete the defense.
Yeah, I mean, we felt like defensively, there's no doubt that he's going to help there. I was just saying from an overall team's perspective, from like the offense at the time, especially with Bateman going down, I was like, how does he help that? Not that he's not going to help the defense.
Yeah, how does he help the passing game? Yes, I agree with that part. Who they Joe Power here says Joe prove why he will be the best QB.
Here we go. I'm free. Just reading that. Just reading that. I'm angry now. See, now I'm pissed off. I was very conciliatory. I was ready to
keep him coming. Who that Joe Power?
Now I'm angry.
In NFL,
it must taste good.
He's got to go all the way in. He's got to go all the way in.
Oh, he's a regular now too. He's a regular now.
He's the answer to Nova Stone. Like, you know what I mean? He is Joe Burrow's Nova Stone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Who gonna be Kenny Pickett's Nova Stone?
You might have a super chat battle between those.
Have they played yet?
When we play the Bucks, it's gonna be an interesting.
Oh, it's gonna be. We gonna make about $300,000 on that day.
Burrow sliced those boys up like a watermelon on a hot summer day.
He was surgical. He was surgical.
Ace really happy about a W versus the Steelers.
Oh, okay. I'm so tired of this shit. Stop
Damn
it.
right I am. I was fucking happy when Ryan Finley beat them. Are you serious?
It's a rival game. It's a rivalry game. You beat your rival, you go dance on the grave. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Because there's always a chance that you could be upset by the rival.
Exactly.
Shout out the Bengals. They know what that feel like when the rival has no business beating you and then they beat you. Like, you know what I mean? They know what that is. So the other way around, it has to feel good. And look, they go dance on that grave if they beat the 3 or whatever Browns. And when that happens, it's a rivalry.
I don't even know if I even remember a time where we were 4-1 in the last time of playing the Steelers. Okay, I'm gonna celebrate that for the rest of my life.
Oof.
Yeah, no, I agree. You especially
You might have the rest of your life to celebrate it because I don't know if the Steelers gonna get good anytime soon.
Oh, this is specifically for Tony. Tony, I don't know if you can hear, but Ryan
What's up?
says progression.
Yeah. I got a bunch of those. I got a bunch of those in my mentions last night. It's funny, at dinner last night, my wife said to me, she goes, Are Bengals fans yelling at you on Twitter? And I just handed her my phone and I said, just start scrolling.
Speedy Verse says, shout out to Tony for showing up on a cruise hootie.
For sure. Much respect.
And then here says, for some reason, Ravens defense will have given up 20 points.
They weren't that bad. They were not giving up 20 points to Baker Mayfield, man. In a close game.
The Russian would have killed us. The Russian would have killed us. It wasn't.
Who is their running back? Chuba Hubbard?
No, the other dude. It's the other dude.
I don't even know him when we played him. I don't know who the other running back is.
Foreman? Nah, man. Okay. Y'all was not that sorry. Y'all weren't great, but y'all were not, because y'all did a good job against the Browns when they ran the ball. Like we didn't murder y'all.
We did decent. But other than you guys,
you guys did pretty decent against us too.
Yes, you guys were not running the ball well by then either. You guys were.
I'll say y'all acted like y'all had the Browns run defense out here. It wasn't like y'all was letting anybody.
In all fairness, Sonny, I get your point, but you are talking to a Browns fan down
there. We just let Devin Singletary and James cook us for 160, dog. Like that's what bad run defense looked like. Y'all just had a not so great one.
And then Russ here says Mahomes, Burrow, Allen.
According to QBR, it's Mahomes, Brissett, Burrow, Allen.
Tua number one. Don't forget Tua. Don't forget Tua in there.
Derek Carr is in there. It's a whole bunch of mid quarterbacks in there.
I mean, like at some point, we gonna have to talk about Jacoby Brissett being an MVP candidate.
Tom Brady. This is for no. So Tom Brady destroyed his rivals. It's just another game.
Oh, did they win again?
Did they even play? They didn't play.
No,
they didn't play.
You might want to hold on to that one.
Hey man, you better watch out. The Browns coming to town. They coming to Cleveland. They coming to the dog pound this week. Nova Stone. Be afraid. You know what I mean? We might let Tom Brady get his first 100-yard game on the ground. We don't know.
So look at this. Dylan says, this is for Tony again. Joe Burrow had to remind Pittsburgh who daddy was.
Damn.
You gotta feel it that Tony's brief niceness to Joe Burrow might end pretty soon.
Y'all wonder why this man is relentless.
That was a one and done. No. That was a one and done. That was that whole speech I gave. That's a one and done. I hate Joe Burrow.
I didn't understand half of that either. So.
Oh, good. Oh, thank God. Even better. Even better. Thank you. Just want to shout out to the Wi-Fi on this boat.
I need Tony to become the Skip Bayless to Joe Burrow. Like I need him to be.
Dude, not to derail a lot, but I was listening to like 3 days of Skip and Shannon.
Dog, they still argued about Baker.
Why would you do that? Why?
Well, because people were, putting it on Twitter, and I thought it was the same day because they do the same arguments, and their debates points are the same. over and over. And I'm like, but you just said this a couple of days ago. Why are you saying it again? What's the point?
That 11-game stretch for Baker Mayfield. He still talks about it. Dog. Like, it's crazy.
But it's the same thing with LeBron James. Both put the same arguments. This is like they have like 5 topics that they say the same thing over and over. Anyway, Minecraft here says, Tony, don't worry. When in doubt, play the South. That's a good one.
Got 3, got 2 more of those coming out. 2 more of those coming. 2 big W's left.
Hey,
What's that leave us
man.
with? 5? 5 is the top 5. You can get top 7 pick, top 5 pick with that. I'm good with that.
Tony,
I mean, after
are
you
you
lose the Super Bowl,
worried?
there's nothing else to play.
Are you worried that the Panthers might go to Sam Darnold?
Am I worried that we're going to lose another football game? No. I think if from this point, I might be okay with that one.
Steelers baller here says Tony is to blame. Wait, Tony is to blame for the Steelers L. Luck of the week, shaking my hand.
No. My lock of the weeks are 1-1. My first lock of the week was the Dolphins. Okay, so I got that one correct. That was against the Browns. So I accept your apology, whoever wrote that in.
And then Chubb here says Browns defense trash, but the Sean's still best in the division. Highest completion percent, second highest QBR in history, 33 touchdowns, only 7 interceptions with bottom 10 O-line.
This is gonna be the Browns power game.
Oh my god. We gotta talk about a guy that hasn't played in 2 years before he plays. Okay.
Hey. No, don't disrespect the best quarterback in the AFC North according to QBR.
Yeah.
Who is it? It's my man Jacoby. All right, that's all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Jacoby has played great this year.
I'm just saying, if this offense can have Jacoby Brissett out here, even thinking about top 10, man, come on.
Be honest, Q. When Jacoby Brissett juked out that linebacker on it was like 3rd and 6 or something and ran for the first down. This is early in the game. I think the Browns already had the lead. But you were dreaming about a W, weren't you? You had the W ready to go.
No. They did the same thing against the Dolphins last week. I had no faith. No. If they would have went up like 14, okay, they got me. Or 17, they got me. But the 7-0, I know better than to believe 7-0. They go up 7-0 all the time. This Browns team can score. That's not the problem. The scoring, Tony, not the problem for the Browns. They can score. The problem, the defense. They stink. They very stinky. And Josh Allen, he very good at football. So no, you think a 7-0 lead was about to have me excited versus the goddamn Bills? So, come on, man. Come on. We had to go up by 20 for me to believe that we could actually beat the Bills.
You have to give some credit to Denzel Ward because I thought he did a good. I mean, he was the one on Diggs early on. They didn't let Diggs get going, and it did make me wonder about the Bills. If they maybe have an overall, I didn't realize that his numbers were so gaudy this year. Stephon Diggs we're talking about, like they have an over reliance on him, and you start to wonder about like, look, they have a good core there, but do they have an over reliance on Diggs? And did that little like blip because the first 2 quarters of that game was probably closer than it should have been, especially when you consider the Bills how explosive they've been offensively.
I mean, looking with Josh Allen's numbers, they directly correlate with Stephon Diggs being there.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like they go like, exactly. So
it's like with Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, right? Like he was a different quarterback with D-Hop out there. He's better than Kyler, obviously, but like that's a huge part of what they do. They're not a very creative offense. They just kind of rely on overpowering teams.
One other thing to talk about real quick. Is about an over reliance. How about the Steelers offense much better since they got Chase Claypool? Can we talk about that for a second? Because 2 games, I'm ready to take another victory with that one.
Not only that, Tony. By the way, the people that didn't understand, Tony said, "How about that offense playing better since they got rid of Claypool?" Not only that, how about Najee? Since somebody said like you might be bench, start running better.
Yeah, for sure. I keep joking with the people I watch the game with. I keep telling them, like, they just have – every time Najee goes out there, Tomlin needs to tell him, this could be your last play. This might be your last play, kid. Play like it's your last play.
You can't pick up his 5th-year option. You know what I mean? Like, because then he'll get too comfortable. He'll put in a bad year. You know what I mean? You got to let him play it out. You know what I mean? Contract year, Najee going to be a problem if all trends hold up. You know what I mean? Who was the one dude? It was like a dude who was like synonymous for just like only being good in contract years. I forget who it was, but I think it was like a wide receiver back in the day who was like, man, in a contract year, he fired. Every other year, he is trash. He's like Jadeveon Clowney. Like whatever Jadeveon on that contract year, put up a good season. When he not, he gives you them 6 sack years.
Noah Stone here says Tom Brady will be the most successful person to be in Cleveland. And then Chase and
LeBron James exists.
That is true. Chase and Minka sat a year. Russ is overrated. With that, I want to hear Ace's take about this game.
Yeah, this game.
I'm gonna run. I gotta run.
All right, man.
Bro.
Sorry. Yep. Talk to you guys later.
Yes, sir. Yeah, starting out in this game, I felt like coming off the bye, very similar situation to last year, right? Like they had to go into the bye and make some adjustments, right? And one of the things was they were getting healthy. You got DJ Reader back in this game, but you still were without Jamar Chase, right? And this was if you remember, I said this isn't a defense that you want to run against, right? Like I said the exact opposite of the Browns. Whenever you attack a defense, you should attack the weakness, not the strength. And that's what they try to do against the Browns. And so going into this game, I was like, no, I don't care if we just ran for 5 touchdowns with Joe Mixon. That is the 6th ranked run defense in the league. You're not going to get anything. And, looking at prior games like the Eagles game, teams were able to make some passing plays against them. Now, Minka Fitzpatrick was there. TJ Watt was there. I think that TJ definitely showed up. Minka, I don't know where Minka was at. I saw some throws go over his head in that game. I don't know if he was 100%. Who knows? But TJ definitely made his impact felt. But I think that La'el Collins did a great job against him. And I also felt like the Bengals finally took some of my advice. And I'm not saying that they listened to me or anything. But one of the things I've always said is when you go up against an elite pass rusher, please try to chip them. Please try to account for them in this game. And you could tell that they were just actually accounting for TJ Watt in this game, something that they haven't done against a Myles Garrett or a Micah Parsons. Like they might do it here and there, but they don't consistently do it. I felt like in this game, they really did that. They tried to catch them off guard with a lot of halfback screens, which us Bengal fans know we have not seen running back screens very much this season. They finally were able to run some of those, throw them off balance. It did take them a while, however, to go to T. Higgins. The whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, why aren't they targeting T. Higgins? Because T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd weren't really targeted that often and early. It really was a lot of Joe Mixon, Hayden Hurst on one pass. And so as I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, they've got to get better with targeting T. Higgins and doing his thing. They eventually did that, and as soon as they went to that, they started to get some stuff. I think the defense, like with Lou Anarumo, this reminded me a lot of certain games when he has to go in against an unknown opponent, right? He's never faced Kenny Pickett before. He's kind of trying some things, and he was trying a lot of stuff that wasn't working. And to Kenny Pickett's credit, I got to give it to the kid. Lou was trying to do a lot of like exotic blitzes, secret blitzes where he'd bring a safety up and rush him. He'd bring a corner up on a blitz, and Kenny just made the right read every single time. And it seemed to be on third downs. And I believe in the first half, they were like Pittsburgh was 5 of 7 on third down. A lot of those were when Lou was trying to send those blitzes to confuse Kenny, and Kenny just made the right read and did his thing. And so I think early on, it really reminded me of the Chiefs and some of those games that Lewis had, because he'll have a game where he gives up like 20 in the first half, right? And then you get into the second half when he makes those adjustments, that then you'll see what happens. And similar to what happened to Pat Mahomes outside of a by-the-way touchdown at the end, he pretty much held them to 3 points there at the end. So I think the defense looked shaky to start. The offense was there. Burrow was kind of humming. They weren't scared of running the 5 wide. They made different adjustments. You could tell in the bye week where they brought Samaje Perine up to kind of help against that pressure from the center. They actually used some of the tight ends to help Chip. And then he was just surgical out there. Tony said it was a tight end. It wasn't a tight end. It was a wide receiver that Bengals fans know for the last 2 years, Trenton Irwin. He came in and stepped up, made some good catches. Joey Beto, he was like willing and dealing. Outside of the 2 interceptions with both, one was TJ Watt just jumping up, which he gets his second one against Joe Burrow this season on that. The other one was, I think it was Spillane. It's Tony's boy Spillane ended up deflecting one, and they ended up catching the interception. That was somewhat cause of concern, but you go into this and you come out with only 2 sacks given up, and then you yourself, Hendrickson, gets 2 sacks at the end of the game. I think you did your job there. To hold TJ Watt to a half a sack and an interception, I guess the interception was the highlight. But outside of that, he really wasn't a threat. And I got to give shout out to Jonah Williams because I get on Jonah Williams all the time. And I'm the type of person, if I'm wrong, bro, I'm going to give you your flowers. Jonah Williams, I did not hear Alex Highsmith's name called all game. He did his thing. Cordell Volson, he had a mixed bag, I think, of a game. I think at one point I really liked when he came out on the screen and he ended up helping Samaje Perine, which really reminded me of that Chiefs screen, score that touchdown. But he also gave up some to Cam Hayward on some stunts and things like that. So offensive line, I think, really came together in this one. Cam Taylor-Britt, the rookie, I think he had a pretty good game. You can tell that dude is a tackler. They did pick on him a little bit, but he seemed to really get his foot in a little later. Eli Apple definitely got picked on in this game at points in this game. But when you look at it from a matchup standpoint, the only person that really did anything was Freiermuth and Pickens for the most part. You know, Deontay Johnson, I didn't even realize he played in that game because he did not make much of an impact in the game. Najee Harris, I think, did his thing. I did expect the Bengals' run defense to play a little better. They weren't horrible, but they weren't as stout as I expected them to. I know DJ Reader is just back for his first game, so I know he's got to get his win back and stuff like that. That was the only cause of concern for me. But with Joe Willen Dillon, the way that he did, I'm not really surprised because a lot of people are like, oh, what are the Bengals going to do without Jamar Chase? I saw that his rookie year. Jamar Chase is a special weapon. Don't get me wrong. But this is a guy in Joe Burrow that can make a guy like Trenton Irwin look better than he really is. This is a guy that can find other weapons outside of those guys and Willen Dillon make it. And the way that Joe played in this game, it just was crazy. I'm expecting that we're going to get Jamar Chase back, and I'm actually glad that they lost Jamar Chase because they were heavily dependent on him, and they weren't able to really put together a game plan that really revolved around T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and Joe Mixon without Jamar Chase being the center. Now that they've got this experience of what they can do without those guys or without Jamar Chase, and he joins those guys, and now they know how to kill the two high safety look, which is something that they struggled with early on in the season. I think they're on a good path. I mean, they end the day in the 7th seed, locked in. So they just got to keep going out here and winning. You know, there's other paths other than winning the division to get into the playoffs. They've got to try to make the best of this stretch towards the end. And I think that they did that in this game. Let's see if they can do it against Tennessee.
And also, before I go to Q, Ian Rappaport says, this was about 40 minutes ago. Jamar Chase is off crutches and following a positive medical checkup. His return is coming. Coach Zach Taylor said Jamar Chase will resume practice this week.
He's coming back to practice this week.
So, Q, what do you thought about the game?
Bengals are good. The Steelers are not good. I felt like the Steelers really played well at the beginning of this game. They really gave you a threat. There was that one incredible TJ Watt interception that he had. With the team like the Steelers, you knew that, hey, look, if this score got to a certain point, this wasn't going to be a game that they're going to be able to win. Score got too high, right? They have a limit on how many points they can score because offensively they're not that good.
This was a season high, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, on points.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's hey, can the Lakers score?
No, they can't shoot threes.
So they can't shoot threes. So when you're watching a Lakers game, and even if it's close, but at halftime they got 60, 65 points already, you already know. Oh boy, we ain't about to win this one. We got to go cold in the third quarter and lose this game by 10. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like with the Steelers. It was they were keeping up point for point, but eventually they were going to get cold because they weren't really stopping the Bengals, right? They were getting some turnovers here and there, but they weren't really shutting the Bengals, stopping what the Bengals wanted to do. They were just getting some breaks. So they were able to take advantage of that. The Bengals are the better team. They were able to take advantage of some things, and they made some adjustments. Right, the cover two thing had been lingering over them for a while over the season. They were able to get that done. Samaje Perine, quietly, I think Perine and Chris Evans might be more productive. You know what I mean? I feel like I feel like they found something in the run game there. Perine had an excellent day. And I feel like Chris Evans could have a good day too if they ever let him play. But yeah, Bengals are who we kind of thought they are. They're a good team. And again, I say this when I'm critical about a good team. The things I'm being critical about aren't necessarily things that every team can take advantage of, right? Only some teams can take advantage of them. I didn't think the Steelers were one of those teams. And that's why I predicted that the Bengals would win this game last week when everybody was thinking about going to Pittsburgh side just because of vibes. And that's why the Bengals won the game. They're just a better team. The Pittsburgh Steelers just ultimately they cannot put enough pressure on the Bengals offensively to have some of these things matter, right? And they did not play well defensively and on a consistent basis. Like they didn't force a lot of 3 and outs against the Bengals to limit those possessions. So, they lost.
Okay. I will say this. The thing that surprised me the most.
Sonny, did you send it in chat?
Yeah.
Oh, you sent it in the Twitter chat. Okay.
Yeah. So the thing that surprised me the most about this game.
No, it's not in there.
It's up top, Q, in the private.
Yeah, in the private.
I had to restart my computer, so I don't have it. Can you resend it?
Okay. Oh, yeah. So the thing that surprised me the most about this game with the Bengals was that O-line. That O-line for me was great. Now, there was some penetration early in the game in the middle. I thought Hayward was getting in a little bit more than what I was expecting, at least. Lyle Collins, as Ace mentioned, I thought he did a pretty good job. I have rave here about TJ Watt. TJ Watt's one of my favorite players, non-Raven. And every time I see a good game plan there's no stopping TJ Watt. There is slowing him down a little bit. Then I give you props. It's the same thing with Myles Garrett, by the way. So the O-line, you guys know I love good O-line play. I thought both tackles, the bookend tackles, played well. The one thing I also will say about Joe Burrow, and this is where Samaje Perine was okay on the rushing attack. Same thing with Mixon, but both of them, and this is also credit to Joe Burrow, taking what the defense was giving them, and with the screens, and when hitting them on the flat the play was not out there. Running back is out here on a flat, on a 2-3 yard curl, screen, whatever it was, different plays. Just dump it, taking what the defense was giving them, and then the running backs making people miss on the open field. That was really good. That Perine over there run almost, on the sideline, and I was like, man, nobody's gonna just push him out. Nope, he went all the way to the touchdown. So very good credit to Joe Burrow for taking what the defense gives them. Like the pick on TJ Watt, you can't do anything about that if you're Joe Burrow. The guy made a hell of a play. It's just, you can maybe look him up, but you can't just be all game just, worrying about that. That was a hell of a play by a hell of a player. But the O-line, I think, was the key of this game. On the defensive side, I will say this. I was surprised also that the defense of the Bengals allow so many yardage, especially in that first half. The Kenny Pickett missed a couple guys. There was a one holding play. It ended up being a holding play, but the guy, was it Pickens? Might have been Pickens. I don't know who it was, but he was wide open over there. He beat 2 guys. He beat Bates and whoever the corner was, and Pickens missed him.
I think it was Eli. I think that was Eli. It was like a blown coverage by Eli.
Yeah, it was bad coverage. It didn't matter. Kenny missed the guy. He
dropped that other one at the end of the game too. They ended up scoring, but he dropped that one at the end of the game too.
Yeah. And so Pickens also left. Kenny Pickett let a lot of plays out there. So I would say offensively, a lot of good. Defensively for the Bengals, there's some things to tighten up because the Steelers are not the greatest of offense. I know there's a rivalry game, so when there's a rivalry game, things are different. But the Steelers, even in the game that they play against the Bengals, when they pick Joe Burrow 5 times, they couldn't score the ball. And you might say, yeah, that was Mitch Trubisky. Yeah, but with Kenny Pickett, it hasn't been different either. They haven't been able to score the ball. I think 23 was their highest all year. Maybe it has been 20.
I honestly was surprised that he threw the deep ball better this game because
I
the
know.
game prior he threw it trashly. Like he was not good. I was like, how did he start throwing it like that?
And by the way, if you're a Steelers fan, you want Kenny Pickett to just try. F it. What do you have to lose? A game? I mean, you're gonna lose probably regardless. So you want to see how the kid does throwing the ball deep, and you want him to learn how to throw that deep ball. But anyway, overall, I think this was more about if you're the Steelers, you're like, okay, we lost the game. I like the Kenny and the offense woke up a little bit. Najee Harris ran the ball a little bit better. If you're, in my opinion, the Bengals, you're like, man, that O-line against a great D-line. We held our own. That is the key. Joe Burrow didn't force the ball. The 2 picks did not tell the story. And then on the defensive side, we need to look at it. We need to tighten a little bit because this was the Steelers. If we're playing Buffalo, they might exploit us a little bit more. If we play Kansas City, they might exploit us a little bit more. We need to figure out why these guys were running open and tighten ourselves a little more. We have some super chats, and then we're going to play some Bill, GG, Tony, Ace, Q Hot Chip. That's coming. Sunny, Uday. We had a couple more here. Hold on. Raven Ron says, Ravens win not pretty, but at the end of the day, we got the win and leading the North. Defense got a forced fumble, interception, 4 sacks. Roquan addition was key.
We wanted to beat the Panthers out.
Have
Roquan.
you guys seen I mean, obviously this isn't gonna be the same, but have you seen what the current playoff matchups are? Like if they started today.
Ravens play the 5th. You guys play the 2nd, right?
No. You guys would play the Bills. We would play the Dolphins.
Gotcha.
Oh, how? Wait, how, dog?
I was looking at it. I was like, might not. If this stays the same, I might not.
The Bills
were up there too.
Yeah, because the Bills and the Dolphins are tied, but the Dolphins.
They trying to set up Raven fans to have the worst offseason. If they lose in the first round to Josh Allen, boy, they ain't never going to hear the end of it because that's the one they keep on. Josh Allen don't have the bad playoff record. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm not gonna lie though, like the Bills to me, it looked like if the Browns, like I know they ended up beating the Browns, but y'all look like, I mean, the Bills didn't look like this team that everybody's been like saying that they are. Like, oh, they're the best team in the AFC. It's
they were playing better football early in the year. Now they're not. Yeah. That's the problem.
Well, we'll talk about this soon. Burrow actually said they didn't help Collins that much. I saw a few shoots, but not all. I saw enough. They saw enough. They're not gonna put another O-line there the whole game, but they did enough.
This is why Joe Burrow the whole boy Hall of Fame in year 2. You know what I mean? He gonna help his homie out. He like, hey man, they even chipple. Tell her that. Look. One of Joe Burrow's favorite athletes is LeBron. And that was a LeBron lie. That was a.
Did you see when Jalen Ramsey called him out on it?
He was like, "What you mean?" like he was unaware.
Doing that before you even got to the Rams. He was like,
"I was capping before you got in the league." So,
okay. With that being said, let's pay some bills, man.
All right. Well, football is back, baby. Well, football been back, and we're used to seeing Mahomes sling beautiful balls around the field, and your friends at Manscaped are here to help with your beautiful balls all season long. With Manscaped state-of-the-art tech, will have your weapon looking more loaded than apparently the AFC East. Football may be rough, but your balls don't have to be with Manscaped. Join 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by using the promo code AFC North Talk at checkout to get 20% off plus free shipping. Meet the best valued bundle yet for Manscaped Pocket Rockets, the Platinum Package. Ace, Sonny, I don't know about y'all, but the Manscaped products itself has just really helped me get my confidence up, right? It's like with the sports organization, it's like anything else that you watch, it starts at top. But we know at top for us, a little bit in the center. You know what I mean? If you feel good about everything going there, the confidence radiates from there. You get that certain energy. some of us may or may not have that radiates through us, and you can help make sure that energy is flowing right with the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. It got that active skin safe technology, so you don't get any hicks, bumps, or bruises on your most sensitive area. That's always the worst, man. You don't want to be down there trying to pat it all the time. And running back, they got the weed whacker. At wide receiver, they got the ball toner. And wide out, we got that premium 2-in-1 shampoo, body wash, and conditioner. And at tight end, we got products that are going to make sure that you look tight. This lineup is looking crisp. This looks like a super team. I'm predicting 14 wins for this team already. Make sure you go to manscaped.com and use promo code AFC North Talk at checkout to get 20% off and free shipping. Not like, oh, we're going to give you 20% off, but we're going to charge you for shipping, so you ain't really going to save money. We're giving you 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com if you use the promo code AFC North Talk and turn your player into the real MVP.
Also, guys, I will say this is a present not for you only, but your ladies. Your ladies, we appreciate it a lot. So make sure you go and check that out. Also, not that. Also, here, big shout
Don't lose your jumper. Don't lose your jumper. You know what I mean? Can't never lose your jumper and stay in the game, fellas. That's all I'm saying.
That is true. Adam Holland, Tom Gazulu, shout out to y'all. Thank you for being Patreon top tier. Shout out to you. We appreciate you. We appreciate all Patreons. Thank you for you guys supporting what we do here. Also, before we go to the next one, we have 400 people here, 79 likes. Make sure you like this video. You want to help us a little bit, just hit that like. It helps us a lot. And if you're watching that replay, put the comments below. What do you think about each game? Okay, that being said, let's talk about the Ravens and the Panthers, because y'all said this is going to be a blowout, right? I'm not saying necessarily you too. I'm just saying most people in the chat were saying it's a blowout. I actually said Ravens by 10, which ended up being 13-3. This game was a defensive struggle. The Ravens did actually move the ball a little bit, and every time they moved the ball and they got to the side, something happened. Bad turnover. We made Lamar got a pick by their nose tackle. The nose tackle jumped and picked the ball. Bad penalties pushing us back, and the Ravens actually, on a normal day, I think a couple of those they would have kicked the ball for a field goal. The wind was swirling, so the Ravens actually, I think Tucker attempted 40-something yards, but nothing 50 or 50 plus. So we did a lot of positionings that we maybe would have kicked it for a field goal. We ended up punting. But defensively, the Ravens were fine. People are be talking about Roquan Smith here in the chat. I mean, at least on the super chats, right? We've been seeing a lot of Roquan Smith. Actually, the better linebacker in this game was Patrick Queen. Patrick Queen was flying. Now, it could be because Roquan Smith has getting him some of the pressure out, but Patrick Queen was flying in this game. They play 100% of the snaps between the both of them, I'm pretty sure. They look good. The Ravens basically said, we're going to dare you to throw. Baker did Baker stuff, right? So Baker wasn't great. At the end of the game, he got 2 decent deep-ish passes. So his stats probably look a little bit better because of those passes. But 2 picks, one not his fault. One was a ball batted that just got on top of JPP. The other one was great. Marlon Humphrey just almost baited him and then finished the route for the receiver, picked him off. The forced fumble, I mean, again, that wasn't on Baker, that was the receiver. Overall, the Panthers defense looked fast, by the way. Burns looked fast. Jeremy Shin came back from, I don't know, he was an IR, so he looked fast. JC Horn looked fast. That defense looks pretty fast. I mean, they made the effort also to stop the run. The Ravens started running the ball better when they were doing draws. Draws was letting us run the ball better. Passing the ball, I thought we had pretty good success, but we get back to the running. I don't know if it was because of the wind. Again, the broadcasting kept making a big issue of the wind, saying they were swirling. So it wasn't like it was one direction or the other. It was just swirling around the stadium. And by the way, shout out to Fox because y'all announcers are terrible. This is the second Fox game we have, and y'all announcers are trash. Mark Sanchez is horrible too. So with that
you
being
should have heard the Pittsburgh ones. They thought Kenny Pickett was like Andrew Luck or something. If you would have been listening.
oh man, Fox. I don't know. I don't remember if it was CBS for y'all, but Fox, because we usually get CBS. All you guys also usually get CBS. Fox is just horrible. Anyway, the Ravens defense looks really good, and I know you guys are gonna say it was Baker, and it was. But now they have put a couple weeks together. Now, my concern is, although they have looked great, it has been against the South, right? It's been against the South. You can only take so much against the South. The South has been our morale booster for the AFC North so far. Let's be honest, to all of us.
Who's the team that you feel like is going to be a test? Because you got the Jaguars, Broncos, and the Steelers next. So
the Bengals.
So that's the last game of the year. Are they even going to be playing everybody?
He said the next 3.
Oh, from the next. So all these teams, like the Steelers present a challenge on defense, right? Like we'll see.
I'm saying offensively though, like I, for that defense, because we're not really gonna like if we're gonna say the same stuff about a good defensive performance about the Jaguars that we are gonna say about the Broncos, that we are gonna say about the Steelers. Like, is it the Browns? Like, is it the Browns game with Deshaun where it's like that's really gonna figure out where that defense is?
I'm gonna say this: the Steelers are better than you think they are. I don't know what they did in the bye week, but they came out a little better than they usually.
They believe they could win because they beat the Bengals before, but they ain't never gonna play that good.
Stop throwing interceptions.
The Steelers are gonna be tough because it's a divisional opponent. Same thing with the Browns. I get the question, right? Where is this defense getting tested?
Like, what's the team that you beat? Well, the team that you can beat defensively, like dominate defensively, where you're like, okay, no, this isn't just bad opponents. Like, I feel really good about this defense, and that's going to raise the ceiling of this team. That's the question I would have. Is like, where are you going to get that before the playoffs?
Like, what tests will they have defensively? Yeah. Probably because the Browns. I'd probably say the Browns and the Bengals. I would say those two teams.
And even that Bengals game, though, is like there could be a situation where the Bengals are kind of locked into the 6th seed.
Yeah.
And the Ravens are locked into.
They might be playing for the division, right? For all we know,
it's very unlikely they're playing for the division.
I mean, the Browns can beat the Ravens, for example, and
the division record still matters though, because it's like how many?
That's
where the division record's going to like. The Bengals will have to get a game above the Ravens, and that's not very likely, especially when the schedule's not very tough for the Ravens.
Well, that's the thing, right? Well, but what you're saying, Q, is correct. This defense does not have an offensive team right now. It looks very tough. That being said, if you're that defense, what you want to do is what you just did to the Panthers, right? So what you want to do when you play the Jaguars is what you just did to the Panthers in New Orleans, right? You want to at least take care of business, right? And also as they're growing, right? We'll see what Cal Hamilton, right? Cal Hamilton left this game. Also, Ronnie Stanley left this game. Marcus Williams is also coming, so that's good. That's even more help for this defense. I don't know. The defense looks good, and again, I have my concerns as well because the opponents, right? I want to see them against a good opponent, but in the meantime, eat, right?
He's like, I don't care. Let me get that spot.
just feast on it, right? Well, to be fair, Ace. Right now, the bank for the division of the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, they're tied right now, right? And they play each other one more. So that division's up in the air.
It's got to go between those two. I can't. I wasn't.
New England wins.
I didn't believe in Zach Wilson. I'm glad he just threw for 77 yards, so people can see that I wasn't.
By the way, the coach said that it's up in the air if he's gonna start.
I would start Flacco. I'm gonna be honest. It sounds crazy.
Mike White.
Start Flacco. Sure. Flacco or Mike White. Either one of those dudes.
Yeah. Okay.
Hold on. Did you see when he was like? They were like, "Was there anything that you could have done to help your defense?" And he was like, "Nope."
Well, He's being honest. What's he gonna do? He's Zach Wilson. He sucks. He can't do nothing to help them. Like, what's he supposed to say? I could play better. He's clearly not capable of doing that, right? Like, what can Zach Wilson do to make that team better? Be on the bench. That's what he can do. That's not up to him.
That is a team that looks like QB for being at least very competitive.
There's somebody who got drafted way too high because of that hype. You know what I mean? That Mitchell Trubisky hype. It happens every year. It's that hype. We go put it on somebody. They put it on Kenny Pickett, and he got drafted too high. That's what it is. They're gonna do it to Will Levis too. They gonna hype that man up into a bad situation every year without fail.
Miss Craft here says we can't play the Steelers in black ever again. Oh, because that was the uniforms that they had. Okay. Ace, what do you thought about this game, man?
I think for this game, I expected the Ravens. I didn't expect it to start and be like this. The ending is what I kind of expected at the beginning, right? For them to really put up some points, put this one away early, and just kind of pound the rock and come out of this one. To me, they got the win. That's what matters. The only thing that you could say is concerning is you cannot start out slow offensively against, like Sonny said, teams like the Buffalo Bills, teams like high-powered offenses. You cannot do that. In this case, Carolina, not a high-powered offense. So they were able to hold them out. They were able to contain Baker Mayfield, force some turnovers, and come out of here with the win. But I would just probably say the only thing with caution is the slow start, the offense. You did get some things, though, from a receiver. It is kind of like a by committee guy. Which guys are going to be this week? This week it was Demarcus Robinson, so they got something out of him. So as long as they can continue to get by with the wins, that's what matters. So they got the dub.
Yeah, the receiver by committee, Demarcus Robinson is better than Allen Robinson, as Q will tell you.
That's crazy. That's crazy, man. Shout out Allen Robinson. The only thing I would say in this game is like it's nice that you held Carolina to 3 points. I would be more concerned about like the 13 points and the 3 points in the first half of our Baltimore. Like, you know, you're going to beat Carolina. You should not lose to Carolina. So it's about like what you do in that victory that's going to concern you going forward. They keep having these up and down offensive performances. Like that's the one thing that worries me about the Ravens is like they're not consistent enough on the offensive side of the ball. If they were a consistent team offensively, we're talking about a team that you would feel very good about. But that inconsistency that they've had on that side of the ball, whether it's Lamar Jackson, whether it's the wide receivers around him, whether it's even Mark Andrews, who has proven to well, apparently he moved out. He moved out, dog. He moved out. He not there no more. He not there. Yeah, but Travis Kelce had like a 3-tutty game, like his second 3-tutty game of the season. Nah, dog. Travis Kelce has moved out that neighborhood and has established his own country at this point. He out there with Gronk. Okay, like that's what he doing. So yeah, that's the only thing. Like, if you have to take away something, if I had to take away something from it, is like I would be a little concerned about it because for whatever reason, even though Baltimore has a much better record than Cincinnati, I personally feel like in the playoffs, Cincinnati is a lot more likely to get to the second round than Baltimore is because I just don't know which offense is going to show up on a week-to-week basis for them. But that's really splitting hairs at this point. They won the game, and that's what it's going to be about. That's what the game's going to be about with Baltimore is clinching this division, which they should be able to do with if they get to 11 wins, that pretty much clinches it. Yeah, that would pretty much 11? Well, where the Bengals at? Bengals at 5 and
they're one behind us.
We're 6 and 4.
6 and 4. So you're one game behind. So you're 2 games. You're 1 game behind, but you're really 2 games back because you need to surpass Baltimore to get past them more than likely, unless Baltimore drops their next 3 division games. So even then, do you have to tiebreak over Baltimore if all things are even?
If all things are even, then if we drop all the next division games, well, we haven't played the Steelers yet, right? So we could. If we drop all the division games.
So you guys play the Steelers twice?
Twice, yeah.
Wow.
We haven't played
Okay, so you have 4 division games. So if you drop all 4 of them, then this division just becomes wacko world, and you can win it with the 500.
Well, we'd have to win all of the remaining ones.
You would have to beat the Browns. You have to beat Baltimore. With them. Yeah,
And they have Buffalo, right? You have Buffalo left, and
We
the
got
Patriots.
Buffalo, we got Kansas City, we got the Titans, we got the Browns. So
and
yeah,
y'all got no over 500 teams except for the Bengals left, I think, right now.
Yeah.
If you look at it, so the path is there for Baltimore. We had this conversation about Cincinnati last year. We're gonna have it about Baltimore this year, Ace. The path is there for Baltimore, and if they fumble this path, that's on them, and people gotta get fired, right? Like if you don't get first place, and like I don't know, I feel like if you go out in the first round again, somebody got to go, right? Because at this point,
I think
how many times are you going to knock your head against the wall?
Not
right?
wishing that on them, but if that, let's just say, devil's advocate, if that did happen, I think it would be the offensive coordinator. I think everybody else would be safe except Greg Roman, possibly.
They just got the new defensive coordinator. If you got to keep fire, like if you got to fire the defensive coordinator 1 year and then the offensive coordinator 1 year, the next year, dog, you might as well just fire the whole coaching staff at that point because you keep just dismantling little pieces of it because you're afraid to do the one big piece. Because what you're basically saying is that we need a new mindset when it comes to this coaching staff. You're not going to get that with the same coach. So I don't know if it's going to be John Harbaugh. It don't sound like a Ravens thing to do, but I mean, they won the game. I don't want to get into this conversation after a win for them, but yeah, they have a direct path, a very easy path to win the division. They had it last year, but Lamar got hurt. No, not wishing that on anybody. Hope Lamar stays healthy, but this is up to the Ravens. They have the golden opportunity here to win a division and to get a prime spot in the playoffs and to be able to make a run and shut everybody up about this Roquan Smith trade. But you go out in the first round, you trade for Roquan Smith just to be some mediocre defense offenses, and people are going to say something about that too. So we'll see what happens with the Ravens going forward. Again, this is kind of a wait and see team because they're not really playing anybody that if they win, it changes your perspective about them. And that's the problem with talking about the Ravens right now.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree. The Ravens have the path. If the Ravens don't make the playoffs, I agree. I said this in one of the videos when I wasn't here, but that if the Ravens win or don't make the playoffs, that yes, Harbaugh should be fired. Right now, the Ravens do have the path. And yes, Q, I agree with you because I was the one that brought it last year. The Bengals had the path. And yes, this is the year of the Ravens' path. The Ravens do have the path better than the Ravens to win the division. Okay, with that being said, we have a quick super chat here. It says, Electric Tyrone says, Harbaugh is great at avoiding responsibility. He's the one who needs to go. Harbaugh usually says, it's up to me to coach better, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know. What Harbaugh doesn't do, though, is he takes care of his boys. He doesn't like to fire his boys unless he gives
don't fall for that. You better fire your homeboys. Don't let your homeboys get you fired.
I think he usually waits 1 year too much, usually on firing his coordinators. Okay. Buffalo and the Browns. And look, I picked the Browns in this game because it was in Buffalo. I said in this condition, I say Buffalo can win the game. Then they changed it to Detroit. I was like, oof. But then the Browns, to be fair, they started well in this game. They had Diggs in check. Although that first touchdown that Diggs had, he was like I don't even know if I saw a Browns shirt in that touchdown pass. The big thing here was the Buffalo Bills held Chubb in check, right? An offense. Jacoby Brissett had a decent game. I think at this point people have to realize Jacoby Brissett has hold his end of the bargain. Actually, I see he surpassed, in my opinion, his end of the bargain. The defense, which in the Browns case has a lot of names, like Baltimore, right? Baltimore and the Browns have a lot of names in this defense all over. I actually don't think they played that bad either against Buffalo. It's just Buffalo was a better team. Like at the end of the day, if you look at it, how much better do you think the Browns could have played? Maybe here or there, a player or two. Buffalo at the end almost looked like they were cruising too. I don't know. I don't want to sound like I'm demeaning the Browns. I thought the Browns had a good game. I just thought the Bills were a little bit better. Q, what do you think?
All right, now I've been getting some flack on Twitter for this, but we're not gonna say the player's name. I want y'all to tell me if this is a game that you can make up an excuse for. 14 carries, 19 yards, 1.9 per. Most carries on the team, least yards. Is that an excusable game? Is that a game you could just overlook?
I mean, that's a horrible game.
It's bad, right? If somebody is putting up that number, you would say he's having a bad game, right?
Yes.
It would be a fair thing to say.
Mm-hmm.
That was Nick Chubb's stat line.
Yeah.
14 carries, 19. I understand the offensive line was not good, but Kareem Hunt had 5 carries for 32 yards. Like it was not that bad, dog, that you had to come out here and put up 1.4 per. And I have to be fair. How many times have I sat up here and straight roasted Joe Mixon for putting up them 3.2 yard per carry games, right? Straight roasted. Oh, the Bengals have a bad offensive line. He's supposed to be better than 3.2 yards per carry, right? I've come up here. I've been consistent about this. I can't sit here and have Nick Chubb in 14 carries put up 19 yards with 1.4 per and not act like he did not play terrible. He played terrible. He played bad. The offensive line wasn't good. They weren't helping nothing either, but Nick Chubb wasn't helping nothing either. He's supposed to be the solution to that problem as a superstar on the team. Jacoby Brissett, 28 of 41, 324 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's a great stat line. It's not really representative of what actually happened in that game, right? Like I think he got a couple of those touchdowns in the fourth quarter late. And it really made it seem like he was cooking the whole game. He was cooking in some parts, but there was a large part of this game where he couldn't get anything going. Josh Allen he looked pretty like meh. Like he didn't look that great at all.
Yeah.
They really just Devin Singletary and James Cook got going in the second half, and the Browns had no answer, could not stop it. And that's really what killed them. Look, the Browns are not as good as the Buffalo Bills. They're not as good as a team as the Buffalo Bills. They're not. Even with Deshaun Watson, it's closer, but it's not better. In order to beat a team that you're better than, you have to take advantage of all the opportunities in front of you. We dropped the touchdown early in this game, and we fumbled a snap early in this game, which turned into 10 points for the Buffalo Bills, which should have been 10 points for the Browns. You take advantage of those opportunities, you probably win the game. You don't take advantage of those opportunities, you lose by a decent margin. So none of this is surprising. This went exactly how it probably should have went. The Browns did not do what they needed to do to beat a team that's better than them, 4 wins better than them, and they lost the game. Nobody really to blame. You know what I mean? We can blame Nick Chubb. We can blame the offensive line. You could be mad at some play calling decisions here and there. The real factor to blame is that, the Bills are just better than the Browns. Like, that's just it. If the University of Cincinnati plays Ohio State and loses, we not sitting here like we got to blame Luke Fickell and fight. No, it's just a talent difference, dog. They're just a better football team than you. And nobody wants to admit that. We all want to act like it comes down to the margins, but the Browns aren't that good of a team, and they're bad defensively. They have holes that they cannot make up for right now. And they lose games against teams like the Buffalo Bills. I'm just glad that they have the courtesy to not have these games go down to the last 2 minutes anymore. You know what I mean? Because I was dying early in the season when they were blowing these games in the last 2 minutes. I'm glad that they at least give me a whole quarter to get mad before the game ends, because you know what? It's much less stressful when they lose that way. They're 3-7. They play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We'll see if they get to 4-7. Look, the playoffs are done. We're not getting to the playoffs with 7 conference losses, 7 AFC. All of our losses are in conference. Incredible. We're not getting to the playoffs. Okay, it's a wrap for the playoffs. Nobody's going to have a worse conference record than us. And the division, I mean, if we talk about it's hard for the Bengals to win the division, dog, they have 6 wins. Okay, we not winning the division. The playoffs are a wrap. This season is now about Deshaun Watson, how this team looks like with Deshaun Watson, spoiling teams like the Ravens and the Bengals seasons, and just seeing what you could do to prepare for next year. It's not where anybody wanted to be, but that's where we are now. in a week or so, we get to evaluate Kevin Stefanski more fairly. If he looks good with Deshaun, he ain't going nowhere. If he looks bad with Deshaun, okay, we might have to make a decision on that. But nonetheless, this wasn't a surprise. Anybody acting like they got to go fire everybody because we lost to the goddamn Bills is losing their mind at this point. Nobody thought the Browns were going to beat the Bills. They're not a good enough team to beat the Bills. Why would we expect that? And why would we fire everybody if we lose to the Bills? If we lost to the Steelers like this, I would understand. But the Bills, dog, like we wasn't beating the Bills. We wasn't beating the Bills in no snow. We thought snow would be the advantage for us. We really thought snow would be the advantage. Why? Because we could run the ball. We had 80 rushing yards. 80 rushing yards.
Yeah, that's good.
We got outrushed as a team by Devin Singletary and James Cook individually. They both individually had more rushing yards than the Cleveland Browns. And we was really out here like, if it snows, they going to be in trouble because they can't take care of us. Well, Nick Chubb had 1.4 yards per carry in a dome. I don't think he would have had more in the snow. So that is what it is. We were foolish to ever think that we could beat the Buffalo Bills. We're not good enough there yet. Hopefully with Watson and some changes in the offseason, you can get there. You're not that far away from it. But right now, you're not there. That's what happens. You miss your 2 opportunities to win this game, and that's what it is. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that.
Before I go to Ace, I just wanted to show you guys this. The Bills have a 94% chance of making the playoffs. The Dolphins 81, Patriots 59, Jets 52. In our division, the Ravens 95. It's just to make the playoffs. Bengals 66. The Browns and Steelers 1%.
Hey, so you're telling me there's a chance?
Yeah, Titans 97, Colts 10, Jaguars 3, the Texans less than 1%.
I'm surprised the Texans aren't eliminated. Dog.
I was like, wow, they're not mathematically eliminated yet. We haven't reached that point of the year.
181, not yet.
No, it's gonna be like what coming like 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, about that. Yeah, it all depends that 6 seed, right? Where's that 6 seed at? Or 7 seed right now. If it is the Bengals, if the Bengals win the next 2 and the Texans lose the next 2, that will be 8-4 versus 1-10. Yeah, that's a wrap. I think that's mathematically eliminated. Anyway, Ace, what do you thought about this game?
Yeah, I mean, the recipe for and it's crazy because you see a lot of teams that usually pass the ball, right? The Bills and the Dolphins did the exact opposite of what the Bengals did because the Browns, you can't really pass on them, right? Like the Bills were trying that early in this game. It wasn't working. The Browns were able to get up on them. All they did is start running the ball. Like it's obvious what the weakness is for this Browns team. The Bills weren't able to do anything on this team until they started running the ball. I don't know if that just falls on Joe Woods. I don't know if it falls on the players. But it can't be that easy to all that you have to do against this team is run the ball. But that's essentially what I started to see happening. And yeah, like Q said, that game from Nick Chubb, not acceptable. But, these aren't like crazy running backs in Buffalo. Like if you told me that they ran for 170 yards, I'm thinking Josh Allen got 90 of that. Like Josh Allen had to have 90 of that. There's no way
12.
Devin Singletary and James Cook. And I said this in a space, and I was talking to a Browns fan. I was like, look, don't have James Cook out here looking like Dalvin Cook. They had James Cook out here looking like Dalvin Cook.
Started him on my fantasy team, man. I knew it was coming, dog. I knew it was coming.
It can't be this easy. They gotta do something. I don't know if it's personnel. I don't know if it's coaching. Like I said. But you're just going to see teams, I think, run against the Browns. And offensively, they didn't have a bad game. Like if you're just looking at – if you watched the game, I actually thought that they had a good chance. I was watching it first half. I'm like, all right, they might try to do something. And then the second half collapse happened. But even if you look at Jacoby Brissett's numbers, the numbers look good. You would think him and Josh Allen's numbers need to be, swapped around. Yeah. Like, how did this happen? This doesn't even make sense. But – it is what it is. Like Q said, the season is likely over at this point. At this point, you're just getting Deshaun and you're just seeing and evaluating this team with Deshaun and where it goes moving forward. I will say, too, Amari Cooper looked pretty good in this game when I was watching it as well. But you get to see Amari Cooper with Deshaun Watson with these weapons on offense. I think you said it too. It doesn't really change much for the defense, but maybe they try harder. Like maybe it's more effort when you know that you got a guy like Deshaun there because you want to stay with this team next season because you know things are likely going to change around. But yeah, it's just sad, bro, that the Bills, they don't like to run, but even the Bills were just like, you know what, we're just gonna run.
They refused to run, dog, and they were like, "All right." They refused to run in the first half. Everybody was telling me the Ken Dorsey hates running the ball. Then they finally ran the ball, and they're like, "Ooh, 6 yards per carry."
It's like eating Raisin Bran to Ken Dorsey. It's like, all right, we got to run the ball. All right.
But he ate them vegetables. He was like, "Ooh, 6 yards per carry. Okay, let's do that again. Spam, spam, spam. It's so easy. It's not even. It takes no skill. It takes no game planning. Anybody. This is why I said Jeff Wilson. Like, don't buy into Jeff Wilson's good now because he got 100-something yards on the Browns. Anybody can get that against us, dog. Just give them enough carries. We gonna give it up. We suck. We're terrible. And the only thing that's going to change that is the season ended. Like this a terminal problem, dog. The season just got to end. We're not fixing this mid-season. We tried everything. It's just going to have to end.
Did Perrion play this game?
Oh man, he got other issues going on.
He got off the field stuff.
He can't wake up for meetings on time because he be at the club, is what the rumor is.
Yeah, that's the way to get out of the team. Because I mean, you need that beef right now in that middle. That middle needs some space eaters.
We'd be better putting plywood up, dog. Like we would legit be better just putting some plywood up, trying to play defensive tackle than what we got going right now.
Okay. That being said, guys, thank you for joining. We'll come back this week to review week 12. So make sure you subscribe, hit that bell so you know when we come live. Schedules might be changing in the near time. So again, hit that bell so you know when we come live. Thank you all for coming. Go send Tony some love for coming from his cruise at the beginning of the show and eating the crow. Take care, y'all. See you next time.